Maybe you have already watched my YouTube video presentation of the Linux distro Starbuntu. Now I'd like to present you a second video that demonstrates the user-friendliness of Starbuntu using a bundle of examples. First, I would like to introduce Starbuntu's graphical system programs. The most important of these is the GSU authentication program of Starbuntu, which allows any main user to acquire root rights after entering his own password. It is started whenever a graphical program that intervenes in the system is to be opened. I'll demonstrate this based on the example of the terminal. I click on GSU, enter my password, and get the terminal with root rights. GSU also offers the option of logging in as any other user with the password of this one. In this case, the environment variables such as the look and feel or the chosen language of this one are also adopted. For instance, I want to open the home folder of the second user Maria2 in the file manager rocks. For this sake, I open the command entry box, enter the command gsu rocks, select the user Maria2 and enter her password. Now the file manager shows her home folder, and as you see, Maria2 speaks Italian. Now I want to open the file manager rocks with root rights. I enter the command gsu rocks. Unfortunately, I made a typo when entering the command. No problem. I opened the command tab and correct the command. Enter my password. And now I am in the file manager with root rights. By the way, I want to mention that, unfortunately, Ubuntu kicked a very similar program out of its repositories years ago and replaced it with a much more complicated procedure, so I had to reprogram it. Next, I would like to introduce 4 very practical meta apps of Starbuntu. The first example is the Starbuntu program AllOpen. It is a master key for opening any files with their intended applications. To do this, it looks in the relevant database to see which application is linked to which file type. Let's have 2 examples. First, I open a text file with AllOpen. You'll certainly have noticed the appearance of a little white window before the text editor opened. By pressing the super key during the short appearance of this window, you signal that you want to execute the following app with root rights. Next, I open a PDF file with AllOpen, this time shortly A. The second example is the Starbuntu program Edit App Launcher. With this program, you can quickly edit the most important fields of a desktop configuration file or create such a file from scratch. For example, you can easily change the category for an application in the app menu. Here, this is the field. At the moment it is in Office, but you can change it. If this program is started with root rights, the change takes place system-wise, otherwise only locally. The third example is the Starbuntu program Search App. With this program, you can find graphical apps that match a suitable keyword. For example, if you enter PDF, all installed apps that have to do with displaying or editing PDF files will be displayed. Another example is entering the keyword image. The last example of meta apps in Starbuntu is the program systray item edit. This program allows any app, for instance the annual calendar, to be placed in the system tray with few clicks. Thus enabling quick access to this app. Now I would like to show 4 Starbuntu programs that affect the look and feel. First, I want to mention the program Refresh Pinboard that allows to select the wallpaper for the background of the screen. You can select entire folders like Universe, as it is active right now, or only singular pictures like Camel's JPG. The vast majority of graphical apps installed in Starbuntu use the window display of GTK2, GTK3 or GTK4. This can be changed either selectively or together using the Starbuntu extension appearance of the Ubuntu program Alex appearance. I demonstrate this by swapping Starbuntu's usual dark window background for a light one. Now the file manager looks like this, or the Refresh Pinboard window looks like this, or the command entry box looks like this. The window display of a single graphical app can also be changed once. The Starbuntu program GTK theme is used for this purpose. I'll demonstrate it using the file manager as an example by choosing the light gnomish gray theme as the window theme instead of the usual breeze dark theme. So I open the command entry box, enter GTK theme Gnomish Gray Rocks. And as you see, also the font color is automatically adjusted by Starbuntu. If I open the file manager for a second time, it looks like usual. With the Starbuntu program Orient Actwin, you can change the position of a window on the screen by centering it or placing it in a corner or in the middle of a screen edge. To do this, the keyboard on the numeric field together with Ctrl and Alt is used. However, when used together with the Ctrl and Super key, the window fills half or a quarter of the screen. This allows you to tile the windows on the screen. A key feature of Starbuntu is that it uses nested lists in various areas. Let's have a look on 3 examples. First, Starbuntu has its own app menu, which is a bit more complicated to use compared to the also offered OpenBox app menu, but allows you to enter environment variables as well as parameters. Let me demonstrate this. I want to display the GNOME help for evolution with the GTK theme Arc Dark. So I invoke the GNOME help and type in the parameters field GTK theme equal Arc Dark, followed by a %, and then the path for the evolution help. Second, Starbuntu has reserved an area on its bar for storing memos, as well as favorite files and web addresses. The filling is done in a simple manner, as will now be demonstrated. To store a memo, mark the relevant passage of text, then press Ctrl Super N at the same time, enter the title and confirm. Now decide where the memo shall be stored, in the main level or in one other level. Now let's have a look on the result. I click on the memo icon and see the freshly created memo Y Starbuntu with the text in full length. To expose a file, right-click on it, select Open With, and then Expose File. Select optionally an icon and also optionally an app, and finally the level in which the file shall appear. Now you can invoke the exposed file under this icon. If you want to have your freshly exposed file in a new category, click on this button and then on Create. Enter your new identifiers label and confirm. Now put presentations into the new category. To expose the web address of an open website, press Ctrl+Super-U at the same time. Answer the question about the storage type with yes. Optionally select an icon. Optionally select the browser. Place the website in the address structure. And either accept the proposed title or change it. Now let's have a look on the stored web address. Third, the Starbuntu program search list item returns all matching hits for a keyword one after the other for a list, as they are the app menu, memos, exposed files, exposed web addresses, own lists, and so on. The search can be cancelled after each hit shown, and the hit can be called up. For each list on the bar, this program can be launched with a middle mouse button. For instance, let's search in the app menu with the keyword recently. First hit, second hit. Now let's illuminate the bookmarking in the file manager. The ROX file manager remembers all visited folders as long as it remains open and forgets them when it is closed. I demonstrated opening the Starbuntu folder and then Starbuntu EN. Then I return to the home folder and look on the recently visited folders. You see, Starbuntu EN is there. Now I close the file manager and open it again. The recently visited menu item doesn't show the visited folder. In Starbuntu, this disadvantage has been corrected. If you want to remember the path of an open folder for later use after the file manager is closed, press the key combination Super+O. The Starbuntu program marked dir then outputs these marked folder paths in an alphabetically ordered list. You see the freshly remembered folder here. let's return to the program marked dir. In addition, it can be used to manage the so-called groups in rocks, where the numbers 0 to 9 can be assigned to favorite folder paths. These are called up immediately by pressing the relevant number. For the home folder, I've defined the group number 0. Now I type through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. At the moment, the number 9 is not defined. But you can do it by editing one of the folders that don't have a number. Let's test this new group in the file manager. If I press number 9, now it's defined. Starbuntu is also characterized by many small useful goodies that make the user's work easier. Let us, for instance, consider the Starbuntu program display URL with the parameter -s. The parameter s stands for switch immediately from one browser to the other by keeping the web address open. And in the opposite direction, another goodie in Starbuntu is its clipboard, because it is not one-dimensional but a threefold one. I'll demonstrate this with 3 lines in the text editor. I mark the first line and put it into the first section of the clipboard, the so-called primary selection. Then I mark the second line and put it into the second section of the clipboard, the so-called secondary selection. Then I mark the third line and put it into the actual clipboard. Now let's have a look into Starbuntu's clipboard manager prime_sec_clip. As you can see, the 3 lines are remembered in the 3 sections of the clipboard. Now I get the 3 lines back from the clipboard. The first line, the second line, and the third line. The 3 sections of the clipboard are each equipped with an own history. The last goodie of Starbuntu I want to present you is Starbuntu's shortcut manager. In this program called Xbindings, the hotkeys or shortcuts and actions are ordered in dependency of the label. But I can switch it so that the label and action is ordered in dependency of the hotkey. I'll demonstrate the functionality of Xbindings by adding a shortcut to the epilogue of the first Starbuntu video presentation of the Linux distro Starbuntu. To do this, I click with the right mouse button on an arbitrary row, choose Add Row, which now is at the end of the list as an empty row. I enter the label called epilogue then the action A for all open and the path of the epilogue, and confirm. Now I want to set the hotkey Shift plus Super plus V for this new entry. Now I test the result by pressing Shift, Super and V at the same time. If you want to install Starbuntu after what you have seen, it's best to follow the instructions in the Starbuntu manual. You click on Live System Installation and Update and follow the instructions under Installation Instruction. You can also find out in the Starbuntu manual how to make the freshly installed Starbuntu ready for EFI mode. I hope this introductory video to Starbuntu pleased you and piqued your curiosity.